welcome back to STARNES'S storeroom. So today we're at RAF Hooton and we've got a small display on which you're going to see in a minute, and we're going to show you various bits of equipment, Home Guard, Royal Air Force, so I really hope you enjoy it. So let's go and have a look.
Hi everyone, my name's John. I'm the leader of the Living History Group CH21, which is based in Wirral on Merseyside. I just thought to take this opportunity to show you a little bit about one of our first displays that we've done. It's very basic, as everything was for the Home Guard. To start with, we have the basic Haversack kit that would have been used by Home Guard. In this instance, it's probably a little bit of overkill because I've tried to give a broad example of what we have, or what would have been carried in the Haversack. So you would find things like a single mess tin, a couple of tins of food, in this case corned beef, which is usually the ubiquitous food that was carried, and a tin of baked beans. We have shaving equipment, all original, all period, including a wet shaver and a grooming kit. Most of the time the guys probably wouldn't have had a full grooming kit, they'd have just had a badger brush and a shaving stick. Spare pair of socks, absolutely necessary. A towel, flannel and some plain soap. Toothpaste, very possibly. Dental hygiene wasn't a priority in the 40s necessarily, but we have a toothbrush and toothpaste here. And various other essentials to keep you going. Oxo cubes, absolutely essential. First aid kit, plasters for blisters, Horlicks tablets to give you that oomph and get up and go, and a ration bar of chocolate. Some nice new Pontefract cakes, always a good idea to take with you, and still available today. Foot cream and peppermints. Apart from that, we have the next essential piece of equipment, which is the respirator kit. Respirator kit, in this case it's a Mark V, consists of the Haversack, which is worn at the front and at the side. At the alert, the bag is brought up from the side and placed on the chest. You have the gas mask itself, and included in the compartments you have the cotton waste, you have the protective glasses, you have the anti-gas paste. Additionally, boot cleaning equipment, rifle cleaning equipment, and various other things that you would carry personally, like loose change, money, a wallet. Binoculars weren't issue, but are always handy to have. These are World War I binoculars. A lot of what the Home Guard carried were from World War I. Items were hard to get hold of at the beginning of the war, and a lot of make do and mend was used. The Home Guard Haversack is pictured here. This is a reproduction one from Soldier of Fortune, which by all accounts is a very good reproduction. Original ones are very, very hard to come by. We have the Home Guard training manual. At the beginning of the war there was very little written as regards training, and a lot of military individuals with good knowledge would write manuals to help the Home Guard get off the ground. Additional to that, Home Guards were issued with, well, as the war went on, they were issued with arms. At the beginning, as most people know, they weren't armed. When the LD was formed in May 1939, all they had was an armband, and as far as weapons were concerned, you know, the old story, the Dad's Army story of knives on the end of broom handles was very true. In fact, anything that could cause harm. Later in the war, rifles were issued. The most common rifles were the P17 and the P14. CH21, which is the group that I represent, were issued with the P14, which is this one here. We also have the Sten gun, which was issued to the Home Guard later in the war, which is here. The P14 is an original deactivated weapon. This one is a replica, although it does fit the original magazine. We have the loader here for the ammunition. We have the Home Guard greatcoat, and of course we have the Mark II helmet, which is here, with in this case a modern scrim. So I hope that's been helpful. Hope you've enjoyed this, and look in again soon.
Well, as the Battle of Britain raged in 1940, the Germans started moving in with their bombers. Initially they were bombing RAF airfields, but one or two accidents occurred where they dropped bombs on London. Basically then it was gloves off, we started bombing their cities. This of course affected the civilian population. So the air raid precaution units were mobilised, and these were basically to pull people out of rubble, rehouse people, welfare, because a lot of people are homeless after the bombs had dropped and blown the houses to pieces. This is just a replica of a small bomb site. 1 in 10 German bombs didn't explode, so you might come home and find one of these in your garden, and the ARP man would cordon the area, the bomb squad would be called in. Sometimes this could take weeks though if they were overwhelmed, the number of bombs to defuse, so they were prioritised. A bomb in a non-critical area would be put to the back of the queue. So the ARP man would make sure that everybody was kept away, kept safe, if necessary move people out of the houses to temporary accommodation. After dropping high explosives to blow the roofs off buildings and houses, other bomber raids would turn up carrying these. This is a fire bomb. Basically there's a little detonator in the front that ignites a thermite charge that starts to burn white hot. The body of it is a magnesium alloy that will also start to catch fire. That will start pinging off flames everywhere, and of course if they drop thousands of them on an area all at once, the fire service are totally overwhelmed and the whole place is on fire. Even today's modern fire service couldn't cope. The civilian population could buy these. This is a Red Hill scoop. These things burnt so hot that to get near it, you know, if it's in your attic or in your bedroom, you'd have to come into the room shielding yourself. Sometimes a dustbin lid would be ideal. Get as near to it as you can, scoop it up and get it out the building, or try and get some sand on it. That was another effective way of dealing with it. Okay, other equipment that was issued or could be purchased, like the stirrup pump and a bucket of water, somebody on the end of the hose to guide the water, somebody pumping away. Very effective, a lot of pressure created, and quite effective against fire bombs. Got to get it in there quickly though before the whole place takes hold of the flames. Okay. Other equipment issued to the civilian population included gas masks after World War I. Having used gas in World War I, it's a terrible way to be attacked. Both sides issued their population with gas masks. This is for a baby. You put the baby in there, seal it up with the straps, and the parents would pump air into the mask. Very unpopular with the babies, of course. They'd scream and shout, but it had to be done if gas was used. Fortunately, it never was. Had gas been used, the ARP man would have gone down the street with the gas rattle, and that would be to warn the civilian population. Close your doors and windows, put your gas masks on, or respirators if people prefer to call them that. Moving up size wise, we have small childs, so this would be typically for a 3, 4, 5-year-old. This was called a Mickey Mouse gas mask. We used to give it that name so the kids would think it was fun to put it on. Painted bright colours so as it looked like it was fun to use. Slightly larger child or a young adult would wear one of these. This is a more larger size for the population to wear, and it was an offence to not carry a gas mask in public, so you could be arrested for not having a gas mask with you. Here we have the full adult size. This is a civilian respirator for adults. Same sort of filter on each one, so the filters could be manufactured as a standard item, but different size masks. This one's got May 1938 on it, so these things were being prepared before the war actually started in readiness, really. Fortunately, they were never used. After the buildings had been destroyed, the civilian rescue teams, the civilian defence and the air raid precautions people would turn up. Typical equipment, you'd need something like an axe to break through rubble and wooden beams to get to people who were screaming for help. Everybody had to be quiet for a moment to listen out for screaming and crying. People were buried alive, literally. Another way of warning the population that there's an imminent attack or a gas attack is the bell. Very noisy. 1941, the air raid precautions were disbanded and they were incorporated into these civil defence outfits, but the equipment that they used, their overalls, carried on through the war, but they were amalgamated with the Civil Defence Corps. So this jacket here is a 1940s Civil Defence Warden's coat. It's called a great coat, and in the winter that would be very useful.
Hello, so behind me is a display of various weaponry and equipment used by the Royal Air Force Regiment and various other parts of the British Armed Forces. So we've got several different weapons. The one closest is a Sten gun Mark II. Behind it we have the Lee Enfield 303. In the centre we have a Luger, a P08 Luger. We have a 9mm MP40, a stick grenade and a Webley Mark IV, and various other bits of equipment on the map. It's got the pig sticker bayonets, we have a hand grenade, we have a spider sight for the Bren gun. So yeah, lots of bits of equipment. If you're interested, by the way, there is a link in the video where these weapons are all covered. Right, so what we've got here is some of the equipment, personal equipment used by a member of the British Armed Forces. So what we've got here is we've got a haversack with a gas cape, a rain cape. We've got various bits of piece of equipment, toothbrush, KFS, spare laces, polishing equipment, old school shaving kit, soap. For anyone that you remember it, we've got Players Navy cut cigarettes, some old binos, got the 37 pattern webbing, excellent set of webbing by the way, just put that out there. We've got The Mark II Tommy helmet was an okay helmet for its time. Soon got replaced by the Mark III during the war, the turtle helmet. And we've got some other bits and pieces of equipment, entrenching tool, another Mark II Tommy helmet. These things would have been everywhere during the war. And we've also got a gas mask. Now this might come in handy these days with COVID, you know, you never know. So various bits of equipment. So nice little display at the airfield today. So hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you on the next one.